Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the performance of the shot at victory Piccolo, or the strength Piccolo, after his recent Extreme Z awakening on DBZ Dokkan battle. So Piccolo obviously recently got his easy aim, and we're going to take a look at just how good he performs after receiving it. So in terms of leader skill, he now gives 35% strength type attack per strength key sphere obtained, which is relatively decent. He also raises defense for 1 turn and causes supreme damage with a medium chance of stunning all enemies on his super attack. So it's an AoE super attack, which is very useful in stages like Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road. Then in terms of passive, he has attack and defense of 200% and randomly changes key spheres of a certain type, strength excluded, to strength type orbs. He gains an additional attack and defense of 20% per key sphere obtained, and has key +2 plus an additional attack and defense of 50% and chance of performing a critical hit of 20% when facing only one enemy. He also performs a critical hit once only and has key of +6 when facing 2 or more enemies. He, in terms of leader skill, link skills, has Z fighters, experienced fighters, prodigies, Namekians, brainiacs, gaze of respect, and fierce battle. And in terms of categories, he's on Namekians, movie heroes, worthy rivals, bond of master and disciple, battle of wits, gifted warriors, and fused fighters. So overall, he's on some pretty interesting categories, I want to say. But yeah, generally speaking, he is a Piccolo unit. So as a Piccolo unit, he's competing against some pretty limited and pretty strong category as is. I think this Piccolo can be interesting, but I think we'll have to talk about the big elephant in the room with a lot of Piccolo units, and that's simply that basically they can't link with each other. So obviously, there's a huge problem in the Piccolo space with the fact that Piccolo cannot link with himself, and that's a huge issue for this guy because Dokkan essentially kind of refuses to name him anything. So Dokkan kind of basically refuses to name Piccolo anything, to call him anything else but Piccolo. This causes him huge issues because basically he does end up in a situation where he struggles to link with himself. It's what's hindered the Namekian team, but it's also what hinders this Piccolo here, because this strength Piccolo is actually an incredibly useful unit, but his main issue being is that he cannot actively link with any other Piccolo on any other team, and so his link set is objectively terrible because of it. But we'll talk about Piccolo. We're going to try him on a movie heroes team firstly. He is at Rainbow, but his links are not link leveled. However, his links really don't kind of matter. And because he's an orb changer, generally also his lack of key doesn't really matter either. In terms of his link set, he's got a pretty good Piccolo link set, but a pretty bad link set overall. Gaze of Respect is his only key link. Then obviously he's got Brainiacs, Namekians, Prodigies, Experienced Fighters, and Z Fighters. In terms of him as a unit, we're going to grab as many orbs as possible here. He gains 20% per key sphere, so it's irrelevant of the typing of orb, and so far he looks pretty solid. Defense wise, well over 200k, which is a pretty solid showing. No support on the rotation either, and obviously no major links active, so right off the bat a pretty solid start from Piccolo. Once you factor in his 50% boost that he gains facing one enemy, and his raising defense from his super attack, you're going to see pretty solid performance from him. He was sitting at around 250k defense there, which is pretty good. Not huge. He's not going to rock any boats. He's most certainly not the greatest defensive unit, but where this guy thrives and will thrive as a unit is in the SBR and ESBR. He can technically be used in harder content, or harder in inverted commas. He can be used in other difficult content like Red Zone if needs must, Maybe if you're facing a physical type enemy, he'll be pretty useful. But I think as a unit, he really is going to thrive in SBR and ESBR. That's where you're going to see a really good version of Piccolo come out, because in that situation, you're going to have the additional key, you're going to have the AoE stunning chance, you're going to be seeing a very, very, very impressive unit. So I think Piccolo is a great unit, especially in those kind of situations. He can also be particularly useful in certain stages. So for example, we're going to grab some orbs here quickly, and we're also going to grab the support from Paikuhan as well. So the Paikuhan support's going to push him over the 250k mark, or 243. And then once he fires off his super attack, he'll be sitting at his best scenario. This is probably his best situation in terms of linking partner on a movie heroes team, just because of the innate support that he gets from Paikuhan, and the fact that Paikuhan benefits a lot from the fact that Piccolo orb changes. But 4 million attack stat, pretty solid, medium chance to stun, and it's an AoE, which for the most part is pretty good, honestly speaking. So it looks like Piccolo's really solid. I think if you were to compare him to Final Form Cooler or to Super Saiyan Vegeta, I think honestly he does just as well as a unit. Now, as I was saying before, I think the main consideration with Piccolo is his AoE stunning ability. When you use him in those situations, you're basically getting very good chance to AoE stun the opposition. You're getting a very good chance to obviously cause a lot of damage, and the orb changing in that can be pretty helpful overall. I think Piccolo would definitely be a lot better if he had a great linking partner. His best links, Namekians, Brainiacs, Gaze of Respect, are all very strong links that he shares with a ton of Piccolo units. Most Piccolo units have Namekians and Brainiacs, most certainly. They also most of them have Z fighters and experienced fighters. So between Brainiacs and Namekians, you're looking at 22% attack and defense, 5% health recovery. Experienced fighters, 15% attack. Z fighters, 20% attack. The issue is quite frankly, you just can't really get them to link up together because you don't have that capability to. There's only one other really good Namekian character in the game, and that is Nail. And Nail is incredibly good, especially when linked up with Piccolo, but there's very few teams you can actually run them on, because Nail as a unit is intrinsically limited on his categories. He's really only in the Frieza saga. So he's allowed to be on Namekians and Connected Hope. He's on 3 categories, which makes it incredibly difficult to use him and Piccolo as a workable combination. Now, obviously you could use him on the Namekian's team, but the Namekian's team is led by physical Piccolo. So, right now, it is a little bit of a problem. Obviously that's, I would say the biggest issue with Piccolo. For the most part, you shouldn't really have huge issues. Here you can see, by the way, how we struggle with Piccolo as a unit on a team, like Namekians, for example, or Battle of the Wits, where you're not getting the linkage or anything like that. What we are doing is we are setting them up for a great rotation afterwards. So Piccolo himself, still decent, 2.7 million, but with no linkage, no major support, and on a lower leader skill overall, you are going to see a reduced performance. However, we are going to eventually get him in a very nice scenario with the transformed Piccolo. One of the few ways to link this Piccolo with another one is when Piccolo is fused with Kami. That transformation allows him to link with this Piccolo, and they share a very, very good link set. Z Fighters, Experienced Fighters, Namekians, Brainiacs, and Fierce Battle, which is a lot of links. It's 5 links, and it's the most that he can actively get. So until they bring out a Piccolo fused with Nail, or the Namekian or something, they really are going to struggle to make a lot of Piccolos viable in the long term. And when you're going to look at Piccolos that are viable. This is not the Strength Piccolo I think a lot of people will think of. The Strength Piccolo that recently came out, the one that guards all attacks, is a far more viable unit. He seals super attacks. He has Ki built into his passive. He has the ability to guard all attacks. Okay. He has damage reduction based on which movie heroes category units are on. So realistically speaking, you might probably want to take that Piccolo over this one. Now you're fortunate in that with the same name update you can take both of them. And so ideally you could have that Piccolo as a main unit and have this Piccolo floating if you want to on your movie heroes team. Me personally, I think that's an okay option, but generally speaking, it doesn't inspire me with huge confidence, I want to say. Yeah, it doesn't make me objectively filled with huge confidence. With that being said though, I think, for the most part, things are relatively straightforward and pretty simple overall, at least. And you could see a good rotation there by Strength Piccolo. That was pretty much as good as we're going to get it on, his kind of teams. Now, although the numbers may not look super impressive, but it's what he brings to certain game modes that's going to make him a very fun unit to use. People who struggle for World Tournament teams, this guy's going to be a great pickup there. People who struggle, for example, with units, with ESBR and SBR, he's going to be really good there. There's no reason to not take this Piccolo currently at this point in time, based on the stages he's on, to any of those SBR or ESBR stages. So movie heroes, you could take him. Worthy Rivals, you could take him. Bond of Master and Disciple, you could take him. Battle of Wits, you could definitely take him. And when there's a Gifted Warriors Choose Fighters or an Namekians one, you will definitely be taking him. So yeah, I think for the most part that's probably where I would say he rests quite well, is his diversity compared to other units. Like, yes, you will probably prefer the Strength movie hero Piccolo in a lot of situations, especially considering that they're basically on the same teams. But I think, he's still going to be good in a sense that he fulfills a different role. You're going to use this guy predominantly for SBR, ESBR, game modes where stunning is apparent, and you're probably going to use him less in other game modes. But that's fine. I think that's more than okay. I do think Piccolo at Rainbow, in specific Red Zone or other stages, will be fine. But I really think you're wasting a slot there, and rather use this guy to his full potential in ESBR and SBR, and let him really just kind of benefit from that ability to stun, that ability to do AoE damage, which is imperative. You look at game modes like the Breakthrough events, which we currently have, and this Piccolo is a fantastic choice for that. So, for me, I think he's great. I think he's a really good unit, and I honestly am very, very happy with this guy. So, yeah, if I was you, if I was obviously looking at a unit to invest in for some AoE damage, I think you could definitely run this Piccolo. And there are some linking options for him. The transforming Piccolos, the AGL free-to-play one, the physical one, all are pretty decent. But, I wouldn't necessarily focus on this Piccolo. I would use him as a floater, let him perform his AoE, let him perform his stunning, and then I would leave it at that. I wouldn't really focus on anything else. I wouldn't make him a mainstay in my team. I would rather just have him operate as a roaming floating unit that's going to bring a lot of good utility. So for me, very, very happy. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. I hope you guys obviously have a very, very good time with this Piccolo. If you are obviously interested in him as a unit, I do suggest awakening him, easying him. I think he is going to give a lot to your teams, and I think he is going to be usable. He may not blow people's minds, but I think his utility and the way he'll operate in a stage like ESPR or SPR is going to be very, very good and very thrilling. I think he's going to be a very fun unit to use in those stages. So for me, I like him. Nuking lead change as well, so he's going to help strength nuking teams. And yeah, just overall, I think he looks really good. So yeah, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye.